sudden shift and awakening when I was about 16 years old, and that started on really on like a shamanic path, and learning. I'm from New Jersey, so learning from somebody who was raised by an Apache elder. My brothers and I were really into all of that, and really deep into the spiritual aspect of nature and the Native American ways. And from that, it sprungboarded me into a lot of the teachings of Ram Dass. He was a really powerful teacher at the time for me, which opened up all of the world of India and the teachings from the East. And I started going there in my early 20s. Reading a lot of the non-dualistic teachings, actually really studying anything I could get my hands on at the time. So I felt like I was living a life of where it was normal in one area, and yet on the other, I was really blown away by a lot of the things I was discovering through these ancient wisdoms and teachings. And that really set me on a path that for the last 20 years has been very consistent, and it's evolved. And then I started facilitating what I call satsang on my own through a teacher many years ago who had asked me to facilitate his classes for him. And I had discovered A Course in Miracles and really brought a lot of the stuff together. And I had been facilitating that for the last maybe 7 or 8 years. And that brought me into transformational work too, and I became a trainer and a lot of experiential work, and that I got the fortune of learning from a lot of the teachers that had started that work, and how the miracle shows up, I would say, in my own life, it is like every day I see radical shifts where my life takes on this flow, and I've really been able to experience a lot of this really deep within myself and watch relationships get healed, abundance, mastery in so many areas show up. It's remarkable for me. And the level of peace and joy and connection that I experience on a daily basis, for me, is miraculous. And it's not like I think of myself as special in any way experiencing that. I actually know a lot of people that also experience that as well, that I'm in relationship with too. So I would say it's like waking up from a nightmare into a really happy dream. Still dreaming, but the dream is like such a happy, joyful dream. So, and there is so many what people would call coincidences or occurrences that I could speak for hours and hours on end about. But I don't know if they're as important as the joy experience on a moment-to-moment basis that every one of us has the opportunity to experience. I think even all the mystical teachings that I've discovered and so many stories of mystical teachers and gurus and shamans and all that stuff, at the end of the day, it really boils down to like how much joy am I experiencing in this moment? How much connection? How do I connect with others? And the compassion and the openness in my heart. Really, I think it all boils down to that. And for myself, I'd say that's a moment-to-moment miracle, ultimately.
And is there something that you could... is there a practice for people that are seeking that in their own life? Is there a practice that you would recommend for people? Or what's the number one thing to start somebody on that path?
Well, I can't, I have my own ideas and beliefs about it. For me, transformational trainings, I think, are amazingly powerful for people, especially the gratitude trainings that I'm a trainer for. I think that's powerful. But yet somebody might get to do some other work before that, possibly. Or, also A Course in Miracles, I think, is so powerful. The teachings of some of the masters is so powerful, and yet that might be too advanced for somebody at first. Here's what I would say is, one of the things that I think is really one of the most important attributes in the path is a deep earnestness to discover. And I think once that I'm really earnest in discovering, then stepping on the path, really what's next will present itself. The trainings themselves have been really powerful, though, and I've watched people shift their belief systems and things that they didn't really necessarily notice they were operating from. That would be one of the things that I would favor in telling people to start with.
Right.
That's personally, and yet everyone comes to their path. I think it can be found on whatever path somebody's on. The next step is the path, and the earnestness to really open up and discover that, I think, is paramount in whatever path, in whatever modality that you explore.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure to everyone, to be with everyone, and you as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings.